facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people, and everyone is fascinating, especially you. So grateful you join us today. I've got an amazing, beautiful guest, Kathryn Brown. And before we start with this show today, I always have a little mini vacation, a little time that we get centered and grounded by taking slow, deep breath for 7 seconds, breathing in calm, holding it for 4 seconds, and then breathing out gratitude. So that's 11 seconds. So 22-second mini vacation here. And so if you don't mind just joining me, let's get her going. 7 seconds calm. Hold. Release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. In our very fast-paced world, it probably is a good idea to take a few moments to breathe in gratitude, breathe in calm, breathe in breath of life. Just breathe it in and walk on grass barefooted or something every so often so we can, this technology is, kind of everywhere, right? So I like to often just try to take a deep breath, listen, be still and know, those kinds of things. Anyway, today on the Charla Anderson Show, listen, by the way, we're on this wonderful platform, winwinwomen.com, winwinwomen.tv, Poditize, and all the streaming services. So we're excited about all that. And today, Kathryn Brown from Canada, BC, is going to share a bunch of her newfound wisdom, really this newfound foundation of faith that I think she's jumped into. So we met because there's a book series called The Change book series with Les Brown. It's so exciting because Les Brown endorses it and is on the cover with the pictures. Mine will be coming out later this year. Yours is just coming out right now, book number 20. So Kathryn, tell us about who you are in this world, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you do.
Okay, thank you so much, Charla, for having me here today, and welcome to all our guests that are going to be joining us live or maybe on the replay. Again, my name is Kathryn Brown. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia, and I'm really grateful to be here today. I am new to the entrepreneurial world, and it's been such a blessing. I was led here by circumstances, so I'm led into the entrepreneurial world. So yeah, I'm just really excited to be part of this environment and being of change in the world, because I myself feel that the entrepreneurs are the game changers of the world. They're shifting the way the world is showing up.
Absolutely. There's so many now. I feel like we never before have we had quite so many opportunities. I have a saying, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things show up. And so when you say yes to intriguing opportunities, they show up, things just continue. As long as you're taking an action step, things start falling into place.
Absolutely.
And to do the next thing. And so your journey has been corporate. I was corporate too. I understand that. I was a flight attendant, had no idea this networking world existed. I was, for 34 years and it's an amazing world of people just wanting to make a difference. That's what I feel like most of us are doing.
Yes,
right?
I absolutely agree. The corporate world for me, I was in the corporate world for over 30 years, and it was I mean, it served its purpose for what I needed to do in life at that time, but I was ended up in the federal government of Canada, and 13 years of my 20-year career, I was being bullied, harassed, and discriminated against. So yeah, it was not a good time for me. And it really led me to where I am today, and why I chose to really step out and share my testimony, because my life is a testimony to how God has been moving in it my whole life, even though I didn't choose to follow Christ until 2020. So
Well, I know that there's a lot who doesn't have stories, right? We all
yeah.
have something every one of us thinks that we're not enough. Basically, we're something happens when we're little and we think we're not enough. And I'm pretty sure that you were telling that you were adopted as a child and then didn't feel worthy, or was
Yeah.
that about the truth?
Yes. So being adopted, for me, being adopted, I felt like I wasn't, the story I made up about it was that I wasn't lovable, that everyone abandons me. So because I wanted to prove myself right, because that's what we do with our traumas, we want to prove them right because this is who we identify with. So I was trying to prove my story right by that I'm not lovable, everyone leaves me, everyone abandons me, by the choices I made in life. So the relationships that showed up in my relationships, it showed up in how I treated myself. So all my relationships were not loving. They were very abusive. And also I wasn't very loving to myself by choosing those relationships. And I believed that I was being like, I was loving others, but really, was I really loving others if I wasn't loving myself, right? So I had a very distorted like reality around what love was. And also throughout my life, I turned to drugs and alcohol. I was a party girl. So I really wasn't treating my body well. I wasn't treating myself well. I had a notion that I just wasn't really loving myself, but I was always searching for it. So, but because I was trying to prove that story right, it was showing up everywhere.
Well, you get what you think about, right? You get
Yeah,
what
exactly.
you get what you project. And so something many, many years ago, I was listening, somebody had gotten the adoption story, and it just kind of stopped. I stopped and went, wow, someone who's adopted is the most wanted child ever. They chose to take you on and take you. And it's an amazing thing how many feel abandoned by their birth parents when they've got people that took them in.
Yes.
And by choice, there's a lot of kids that are not, I mean, we choose them once they're there, but it's not necessarily a conscious choice to have children sometimes. So I'm not even saying it all right, but I believe that those adopted parents typically are choosing
Absolutely.
you, right? But then we're like, well, but I was abandoned and all that. So we make up all those stories. It sounds like you might have been to Landmark Education. Are you familiar with that? Landmark.
I'm familiar with that. I went through a different leadership program. Yeah,
Well, Landmark has the language that you're using. It's like, we make up stories and we set out to prove them. Right.
absolutely.
I made an F, so I'm stupid. So the rest of my life I keep proving that I'm stupid, and it was just an F, right? It was just a story we made up about it. So
And I
that's
love what you actually were just saying about where we are chosen. And something that just came up for me when you were talking about that. I see that now with my family, and I have gratitude towards that. But now that you said that, something actually just came up, and it's my birth mother. So in 2020, I actually found out that I was conceived in rape. So the story of my birth father happened to be a lie. So the paperwork I had about him was a lie. And so at that time, I was 48 years old. And so for 48 years, I believed the story, and then it became an untruth. And when I found out what actually happened, and I just recently found out about what actually happened during that time with my birth mother, that people were telling her to abort me. People were, they actually forced her to give me up. So now I understand where maybe the disconnect, because energetically, all these things were in me without me even knowing. So I did a lot of healing around that when I found out about being conceived through rape. I did a lot of healing during that time, and it led me to another spot in my life where, because my work, so I felt like I lost an identity actually during that time. And because I was of the world and I wasn't walking in Christ at that time, I felt like I lost a big identity. And then my work of 20 years, at this time was 18 years, they pushed me out onto employment insurance, and they didn't need to do that. So I had worked ever since I was 16, and now I'm 48 and I'm not working all of a sudden, and I'm collecting EI. And I was like, I didn't know how to handle that because I've always worked. And so I felt like I lost another identity, and it just led me down this dark path. And it led me to actually wanting to end my life. And that's where God came in. God came in that moment. So I actually cried out to God in that moment. I was gonna end my life. I was on my knees, and I wasn't raised in a house with God. And I fell to my knees and I said, God, if this is my life, I don't want it. And if you don't take it, I will. And in the same breath, I said, if it is my life, please take over, because I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. And in that moment of surrender, it's like I heard him say, finally, she's come to me. Finally, she's choosing me. And ever since that moment, my whole life has just shifted. It's phenomenal.
As my book title, Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices. You changed a word, you changed your life in that one split second. And I went from bitterness to joy in a split second. We can change. We don't have to go through decades of therapy or trauma or any, to make a shift. It is possible to change quickly. And so I want to go back to your birth mother. I'm guessing that all those years, the stories you told and made up about she didn't want me or whatever it was, I'm assuming you have a little more grace towards her, that you gave, I'm in my tiny book, well, candy bar hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. I have a little dedication to my kids. And it's like, I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you did and are doing in your life right now. I love you. I call it a forgiveness release, but it's, people only do all they know to do with where they are and what they have. And when you can step back and offer grace and forgiveness to her,
Yes,
you all win. Everyone wins.
absolutely. And that's something that with my relationship with God, he's shown me grace and forgiveness because of the things that I've done up until that point. And I mean, I had thought I'd done a lot of forgiveness work through my healing journey, but this was just another level. This was like, I was forgiving people. I was crying every day. Like the Holy Spirit has been working so much inside of my heart and my mind that I forgive people in moments now, like in seconds that something happens. I'm like, okay, let's bring in that forgiveness. And so, yes, the forgiveness from my birth mother and just knowing what she had went through, that must have been really painful for her.
And compassion, then now you have some compassion that, she only did all she knew to do when in situations where she was not, didn't have the strength of character to or the resources, right, to do what she might have done otherwise. So probably the most loving thing she did was to give you up in a way.
Yes. And she gave me life. Like she could have gone the other route and aborted me. And that in itself is like, wow. Because I'm going to be completely vulnerable here. I did that when I was growing up. And now to be on the other side of it, that it could have been me. And I did that. And not knowing what I did at that time really pains me because I didn't have the resources. I didn't have the support that I didn't believe I had support. So I was and because I was in abusive relationships and the things that were happening, so my path of my life was very destructive and was led by, I would say, to me, the enemy. I was very much living my life on the enemy's playground up until I was saved.
That's beautiful. So, another saying I have, I love sayings, so unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. So we think if we forgive, then we let people in, but that doesn't necessarily mean the case. We forgive so that we are free, right?
Absolutely.
Nothing to do with them. And so that's but so boundaries are incredibly important in our world. I'm working towards a workshop around that. So we'll see how that plays out. But so do you have a relationship now with your mom, or is that?
So my birth mother, actually, I found her in 2015. There was a registry in Ontario and my name was on it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is wild to think. And I mean, I called it and they said, okay, they asked me a few questions and then they gave me a phone number to her. And I was like, I'm just supposed to call this woman? Like what? So I didn't really, I mean, I
Was
should
she
have.
looking for you?
Yeah, so she was looking for me and I did find her. I was really put off. I wasn't walking in Christ at this time either. So I was still much in my story and my victim and things like that. So at this time, when I contacted her, it was all about her. Like she never really asked about me. It was all about how she's sick and on dialysis. And so in my head, I thought that this woman wanted my kidney. And like that's what it felt like to me. I was like, this woman doesn't want anyone to know anything about me. Didn't ask if I was good, if I had a good life, if I, was married or had kids. Nothing about me. And so I just kind of was put off and I said, okay, thank you. I will be back in touch with you. I just need some time to process. And she kept calling me and leaving messages saying, hi, it's your mom. And that really put me off a little bit more. And so I called her one day and I said, look, like, this is who, like, I said her name, this is you, and I'm Kathryn. Like, I would appreciate you referring to me as Kathryn and not your daughter and you not my mom, because I have a mom. And so she didn't really like that, but she ended up getting really sick and she died before I actually met her. But I met all the birth family on her side after she passed.
The dynamics, we're all humans here, just trying to get through the best we can, and the dynamics in families, and everybody's, coming from hurt, right? For the
Yeah.
most part, we think we've been hurt, or we have been hurt, and not knowing exactly how to process through that. And I believe that hurt people, and bullies. We talk about bullies, but bullies are victims too. You don't think this is where it comes back to. People don't love themselves enough to love others. And I heard you say that somewhere. And I know that you understand that we don't love ourselves enough to have grace with others, or to offer just compassion to others. And we're always thinking that there's an agenda or someone's out to get us. And I believe that victim mentality is very, very prevalent right now. And it's not serving our humanity at all. To just love yourself, learn to love yourself enough, because God loves you, because you're perfect exactly who and where you are. If you're in a gutter or in the castle, God loves you no matter where you are. And if he is love, he can't be not love. So there's nothing that you have done or can do to take that love away. Not one thing that you can, that is so bad that you can't have forgiveness or grace and turn that back into the love, self-love.
Absolutely. And it's true, like God shows us how we get to be loved and how we get to love others because of how he loves us. And it's so simple, but we tend to get stuck in, again, what you were saying, like what other people have done to us. And the healing journey really starts when we surrender and know that we are not our pasts, and that we can take what happened to us, and our pain is our purpose, and we can show others that there's, something on the other side of that pain.
Absolutely. And if you can name one person that hasn't had it, pain, problems, issues, go for it. I mean, the book would be one sentence long if you can find somebody. I mean, there's nobody hasn't had to overcome. We're all overcomers. And you've chosen a path of receiving from the love that in that one split second moment that you had with often it's an on your knees calling out last ditch effort for people. And it sounds like that was your case too, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was crying almost every day. I mean, most people would have been happy to not have to work and get money coming in, but I was so like lost because I'm so used to working. And so I just felt like I felt like in that moment I was like I thought about my life and how I haven't amounted to anything. I'm not married still, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. But I wasn't married, don't have kids, all these things, and how I wasn't really contributing to the world. And I was like, I'm a waste of space. I'm a waste of air. And that's why I got to that point. And I was crying so much. And I was like, I literally fell to my knees in the doorway of my bedroom. And I was like, God, I just cried out. I'm like, God, please, if like take my life, because I was just seeing it all. And I was like, if you don't take it, I will. And if it is my life, please take over. And when I surrendered, he took over so powerfully. And I had heard God my whole life. I heard him, but I wasn't listening. Like in every relationship, there was always that voice that said, don't do it. And I'd be like, I'm going to do it, because I see the good in everyone. And that's but it was also because I was hurting. So if I could find some, like, I was proving my story right, but I've heard God my whole life. And now that I'm listening, wow, like he is leading powerfully. And even my like just how he's led me, like he led me to a superfoods company where now I knew like all the things he's leading me to. There's a whole path. I can go through that after, like in a minute if you want.
Absolutely, because I know you have left. You're now a superfoods healer. You're a and you are doing workshops and you're doing seminars and all in just the last 3 years or so, right? So you went from corporate. I mean, when you're in the corporate world, you don't really recognize this other world of entrepreneurial. So you stepped into it in a big way. And
Yes.
yeah, so you've gotten involved with the superfood nutrition. And I think you had the word, scriptures and superfoods and service are kind of your thing, right? So that was. So how are you meshing all of those, and what are you doing out there in the world with it now?
Okay. Well, so God led me to the superfoods because and for me to, because if I got to a point where, mentally my mind wasn't in a good place, I needed to really nurture my body. So he led me to a superfoods company where I started taking in the superfoods, and it really supported me in clearing out my body on a cellular level. So not only was I removing toxins in my body, emotional toxins came out at that time because our cells hold on to emotions. So as I was cleansing my body, I was doing an emotional detox and a physical detox, which was amazing. And also in that same month, I remember hearing God say, you need a coach. And I'm like, how am I going to afford a coach? I'm not even working right now because I was on unemployment insurance. And I was led to my friend's Take Action Challenge, where I went live for the first time in her Facebook group. I hated the sound of my voice. I didn't like being on camera. I used to take pictures from the side and, like hide myself. I used to like really, really hide, wear black all the time. But I went live in her group and I won $2,000, and she offered a leadership program. So I jumped into her leadership program. And so I ended up in alpha classes, and I just really started doing all this. He's kept leading me. And during my leadership program, I got baptized. And during my baptism, I got baptized in the ocean here. So like I'd say about 8 months after I was saved, I was baptized in the ocean here in Vancouver. And it was the hottest days Vancouver has ever seen in the history of Vancouver. Like, I'm telling you, baptism by fire. Like, and my whole family came. My whole family was there, except for one niece, but my whole family was there supporting me, even though they're atheists. They were all there. And we had a celebration on the beach. And when I got home, me and my niece stayed a little longer. One of my oldest niece swam in the ocean a little bit, and then I dropped her off, and I got home. And when I got home, I sat on my couch and I stood up, and God, like, well, I didn't know it was God, but something that felt like my legs were going to crumble beneath me, and it felt like something was pushing down on me. And I was like, what is happening right now? And I heard God say, I want you to feel what you've been carrying all these years. And I was like, I live alone. And I'm like, I looked around my place. I was like, what? Like, what? Because it was like me and you talking right now. And he's like, I want you to feel what you've been carrying all these years one last time. And he pushed me down and then lifted me up like I was in the palms of his hands. I was like, whoa.
It gives me those God bumps, right?
Yes. And it was the most beautiful moment of my life. All my burdens were taken, and I knew that God had me. God has me, and he's been leading me to do all the things. Like, I ask him every day. I surrender every day to him, and I ask him, what do you want me to do today? I want you in everything. I want you in all my conversations. I want you in every interaction, every decision. Please help me. I need your help every moment. And so he's led me to the superfoods where I was taking them in myself. I did the leadership program where I went on to staff. I staffed too. Then I got hot. So I actually, that year, I went on stress leave from my job, and they messed up my paperwork. And I went through my savings, so I didn't have income. So I actually staffed in the leadership program. And during that time, I didn't have an income coming in. I lost the income because they messed up my paperwork for my employment insurance to kick in. So I didn't have income coming in, and I was still standing for other people, through their transformations. And then in the new year in 2022, I'm meant to go on the disability insurance that they provide for being on stress leave, and they messed up that paperwork. I ended up on welfare. I'm 50 years old and I'm on welfare, and I'm like, what, God, what is happening right now? And I went into a oh my gosh, why is this happening to me moment? And then it was like another level of surrender. It was like God wanted me to trust him fully. And when I did that, the leadership program offered me a mentorship. So I was now mentoring in the classroom to the trainings. And it was like at first when I was in the training myself, I was like, I can't do these kind of things. And here I am now. And I mentored in the trainings. I'm in now the change book with all of you wonderful people. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. And Les Brown, oh my gosh. And I'm leading, I'm out in the world, and I'm sharing that this isn't, like, your past isn't who you are. It's not your identity. And that when you do heal, and I love that you touched on hurt people. When we heal people. And so I'm out in the world, and I started Take Back Your Health. So I do nutrition through superfoods, hydration, and I do leadership, mindset, because it's all connected. Everything, how we take back our health is everything. It's what we eat, it's what we listen to, it's what we think about things in ourselves, and it's the things we put on our bodies, it's the clothing, it's everything, right? So that's how
it is all interrelated. Yeah. So that's how you created Take Back Your Health. Is that a branding that you've got, or a course that you're creating, or something like that?
Yes, it is something that I am creating.
Awesome. That is
Yeah.
so cool. So let's get to the Change book series. So I've got several guests coming up that are in this book series with Les Brown on the cover. I mean, this is a really remarkable gift to have been invited into
Mhm.
that. I got a random text message from, I'm like, me? Why me? Who am I? And I have been incredibly impressed with Jim Lutz and his high level marketing training, and Jim Britt, these well-known superstars that I believe have this heart to bring some of those of us with hearts, heart-centered businesses out and up. And so how did it happen with you? And your book your chapter is finished. Mine is just going to be out in the next couple of months. So how did that happen?
Same. Someone reached out to me and I was like, me? What? What? Why me? And I had always thought about writing a book about my testimony. I just didn't know how to go about it. And here we go. God provided. Right? So and that's how it's working for me. Like God provided that. And I got connected with Jim and the gyms.
The gems, yes,
And
they're amazing.
yeah, they are absolutely amazing, and I agree that they have amazing marketing. And that's the thing, like I haven't actually received my book yet. I'm in the midst of creating all the back end to it, but I'm excited to get it out there. And yeah, it's something that it's God. It's a way that I can get my testimony about how God's moved in my life, and also a way to support other people, that are maybe on the same kinds of paths. Like God brings us to these things. Like, I mean, a lot of people, when we think about our victim story, it's the victor story, right? It's like this is our triumph. Like this is how God brought us through, and now we get to share that. And I mean, it's so beautiful when I look back at it, and now it's in a book. Now I can glorify God in a book and also provide solutions to other people on their journeys.
So So by the way, we'll just throw it out there. We are looking for other heart-centered entrepreneurs or coaches or whoever wants to expand their influence, primarily with, when you're on the cover of a book with Les Brown, it doesn't get better than that. I'm just, whoa, and then having the Change book series marketing behind it. I'm really excited about when all that comes to fruition. And so anybody that listening to this, please reach out. If you know Kathryn Brown, reach out. And to her, they reward us for bringing other authors on. So just reach out to whoever you know, and let's get you in the book too, whoever's listening. So I want to how do people find you, Kathryn? It's Kathryn Brown, because there's a lot of ways to spell that. And so Kathryn with a K. And you've got a link tree. I'm sure that's the one you want most out there, right?
Yeah, so on my link tree at the bottom is all my connections to my social media platforms. And then there's links to different things throughout the link tree. So you can definitely find me at Alive in the Word 3. I think, yeah.
It's three threes.
Is it 3
Alive
3?
in the Word 333.
Okay. Thank you. Yes,
On
Alive
link
in the Word 333.
And yes, so you've got quite a few links on there for different things that you're doing, and nutrition, smart, kind of mentoring and coaching, the book, so many things that we are, we're just working our way. So when coming out of a career of 30 something years, you don't know where to start. So it's wonderful that I think the Jim Lutz and Jim Britt have created the Change book series with the Facebook group. And it seems to be like such a beautiful cohesion and everybody wanting to help everyone, and celebrate with each other. So that's where I met you. I will have, at least 3 or 4 other book authors will be guests in the next month or so. So you got to be the first one.
Wow, thank you. That's so amazing and such an honor. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's a fun, just a fun group, and I believe it'll be a pivotal. It will be pivotal when yours is actually out. It'll be pivotal for you, and I believe it'll be pivotal for me as well. So I've got a couple of other books, but they don't have Les Brown in them. They do have Tom Ziegler's. I've got Ziegler's in there, but that's a great connection as well. I'm a Ziegler Legacy Certified Trainer. So what is your quote? Okay, the quote. You had a quote, and your favorite quote is about.
It's actually I guess I don't know if it's really a quote or it's from a song where I heard it from a song, but it's also something so powerful, especially in my life, for what I've been through. And and I actually say the same power that rose Jesus from the dead lives in me. So when I think about that, when I'm going through life, and we're always going to have something that comes up in life. Maybe there's something the enemy, I call it the enemy, comes and tries to attack my mind and take me off course. I'll just remember that. I'll be like, the same power that rose Jesus from the dead lives in me. So who am I to think that I'm not good enough, or that I'm not worthy enough, or that I can't do something? It's like, every moment that I have where I do have those thoughts, I say that, and I also ask God to come in and be like, God, you know what's going on in my mind right now? Please help me. And when I do that,
it's in gratitude. So that there, I believe there's a key. And you weren't raised in a church. I was, but I wasn't taught. Well, we were taught to beg. Pretty much, please, please, please. All you have to say is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That it's already here, that it's already on its way. And what you talk about, raising from the dead, but John 14:12, my show is not about religion at all. It's about relationship, right? And
absolutely same.
And yeah, so religion has God in a box, and I don't believe in that he has one. But John 14:12 says, you can do what Jesus did and even more. In my fundamental religion, I was not taught that I could do what Jesus did and even more. That means a lot of things. He did some amazing things.
Yeah.
We can do those as well. And if you can just, there's a quote somewhere that if the only prayer you ever say is thank you, it is enough. That's it. If you just say thank you. And if you can take a breath, you're okay. In this moment, if you can breathe, you are alive, and you have been provided for up to this split second. And if you can take a breath, you are still provided for the next second. And when we can start realizing it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, it doesn't.
Take a breath. Take a deep breath. Breathe in the breath of life. The I am is the name of God. When we breathe in, what you say after I am is who you are. Be cautious with your words and breathe in the breath of life and let it set and just be. And then love yourself enough to find help if you need help. Love yourself enough so that you can begin loving others unconditionally. And I also add to that, the harder people are to love, the more they need it. So there's that, right? So it doesn't mean you have to embrace everything. But if you can send unconditional love and blessings, may you be blessed. You may not. There may be people out there, and I do this a lot. Just may you be blessed that it's not working with us right now, but I just bless you anyway, instead of anger or revenge or those kinds of things.
Absolutely. I pray in those moments. I pray for those people. If there's something ever, I mean, I walk down the street and I see people and I just pray. And yeah, and
May you be blessed, and may you find peace and comfort, and, and love yourself enough to find and feel the love that I'm sending. If you can just send this, the love and the light of that you walk in.
yeah,
People are very attracted to that, right? I get people want to kind of hang in your presence sometimes when you're just allowing
yes.
the love and the peace that passes understanding and the joy to just exude from you.
Hmm.
People are very attracted to that, even if they don't know it and don't know why.
Yeah, absolutely. I have people come up to me all the time when I'm walking down the street, and I just, yeah, I pray for people. I do. I pray life over people and blessings, like you're saying. Like I pray for peace and love and joy and hope. I pray for those things for them, and yeah, it's it's such a beautiful place to be when we don't need to control it all. We definitely
Because we can't.
exactly. We
And
don't
no,
get
how
to we can let
many,
go of it.
the harder we hold on,
Yeah,
the worse it tends to be.
exactly.
And we're focused on what we don't want, right? We're
Yep.
focused on this stuff that we don't want, instead of releasing it. Relax, release, let it go. Just be, receive
Yeah.
the gratitude. If you walk in gratitude, that's the
Yeah,
best, that's the highest level you can be.
exactly. It's all about the lenses we put on for the day, right? We're going to see the world in whatever lens we put on. So, put on the lens of love and joy and hope, and that's what you'll see the world in. And I just want to touch back on the whole relationship. Yes, I believe that because wasn't raised in a house with God. Um, Religion is man-made and control. Going back to the control thing, religion is man-made and control, and God is relationship and choice. And
I love
that's
that. So religion, the definition that I got many years ago now, but bondage, just religion is returned to bondage. Is
mm,
so if there's, I got to do this to be loved by God, that's religion, because you
mhm.
don't have to do anything to be loved by God. You are loved no matter what. Love is the key, and gratitude is how you get there.
Yeah, and he just wants us to choose him. That's it. It's that
It's
simple.
all choice. Everything
All
is
choice.
choice.
That's all
Every
free
word is choice.
will.
Every action is choice. Everything. And if you can breathe right now, you can't change one thing about that yucky
No.
past, can you? Not one thing. You can't change last word or last sentence. You can only change the next one. So where you
Yeah.
are is where you have to start your next better life from. That's it. And it seems so simple when you speak it, right? But in daily walking it out is a little different. So you've practiced that muscle so much now that you recognize, you take a deep breath, you say a prayer, you can bless others, and you the weight of the world. I love that you got to experience
Oh yeah.
those burdens that you were just carrying and thinking that, you had to do it all. And
Yeah.
what a great blessing.
Yeah, it's so freeing. Like honestly, like waking up and just spending time in relationship with God and asking what he wants me to do and praying over however I'm praying over people and the world and things like that. And then I ask him to be in my day, setting that intention with God is really like he's the best boss I've ever had. He's the best therapist I've ever had. Like, he's everything, like really. And it like living in this space has been it's literally night and day. Like it is. And like I wake up with joy in my heart. I used to actually hear like I would talk myself out of my sleep before or out of my day before. I'd be in my sleeping, and I would actually talk myself out of my day. Oh, you don't have anything to do today. You're not important. You're not. And this was the enemy in my head attacking me. And once I was saved and baptized, all of that went away. Like I used to have spirits on me when I was sleeping, all kinds of stuff. Like I've experienced it all. And so that's why I know that God has been with me my whole life too, because the places I've been and what I've been through and what I've done, people used to say, I can't believe you're not dead. I can't believe you haven't died yet. And I'd be like, oh yeah, no, it's like awesome, right? Like, but I had no idea until the other day when I was actually thinking about, what God's done in my life. And I know that he's been in my life my whole life. And then I was like, wow, you've actually been protecting me my whole life. Like since the day I was conceived, you were protecting me because the enemy wanted to take me out since the day I was conceived by wanting to abort me. So when I see everything, it's like, wow. Like
it's it's night and day, like you said. It's like just the freedom. It's just freedom. Just be, because you're enough. That's
yes,
it. You can just be and enjoy, and just bless the people in front of you. Take care of those in front of you. If your mindset starts going, what's in it for me? You
yeah,
might look at, how can I make a difference? Every single thing I do is, how can I leave it better? My mama said, leave the world a better place. I want to find a way to make it better for the next person, and don't really have a whole lot of what's in it for me in my world. And so I don't know. I just love this. We're so similar in our mindsets,
yeah.
right? And it's beautiful that you, in less than 4 years, at least 3 years, you've gone from all of that to freedom. And it is freedom. It's like, I don't have to do it. And I don't have to do it all. I don't have to do any of it. I just get, that doesn't mean you don't do things, right? It's not, people, you can't sit on the couch and expect things to get that much better. You must take action, a
Absolutely.
step towards something, in order to receive the blessings. So I think that's a little key as well. Well, Kathryn, it's been a wonderful time with you. I love where you are and what you're doing. And I know we're going to be in some of these groups together with this, the masterminds with the gyms,
The gems.
and Jim Lutz and Jim Britt. Very, very, very special people. And
Yes.
ooh, the book, can't wait to see yours. I was kind of trying to find the cover of your book and I couldn't find it. So it'll be out though
Yes.
soon.
It's coming.
That's called, and the book is the Change is the name of the book, The Change, and it has 20 authors in it.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
20 authors in each compilation. If I'm not mistaken, they were the originators of the compilation book back
I
decades
believe so.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe they're following their hearts to help not just big famous people to get out there, but to help a lot of us, smaller people with big hearts to get out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, because it's our testimonies, is what we've been through that and what we've healed from, which is going to support others and on their journeys, and seeing that they're not alone, right? And that it's okay to talk about these things, because like I grew up in the 70s and we were told not to talk about things, and we don't want people to we don't want to look a certain way. And so the world is shifting out of that, and this is a platform that's supporting that, which I think is beautiful. So I'm really grateful to the gyms, to Jim Britt and Jim Lutz, and
The whole group, the whole Facebook group, the whole of authors, 20 books so far, 21 now.
yes.
Well, I'm going to just close it out a little bit here. Is there any last words you just want to that Holy Spirit drawn
Yeah.
wisdom you want to throw out here?
I would just like to say to anyone that is maybe struggling with something, that just know that you're not alone, and that there are people out there that are praying for you, rooting for you, thinking about you. And if you are in a place where maybe you're struggling, reach out to someone you trust. For me, it was God. I didn't even realize that he was the one, but I reached out to him, and he's been leading me powerfully ever since. So however that looks for you, I encourage you to know that, to reach out and know that you're not alone. that there is hope. It's
So
hope-
people that
hope
don't
flow.
have hope. So I may just say, you said someone you trust. I'm assuming that there are people that don't feel they don't trust very many people
Mhm.
if they're in that situation. So there are a lot of resources. Reach out to either one of us. You can find us, and we want you to be whole and happy and full of joy, so you can live life fully.
Live the life you were born to.
Yep.
We're
And
all here.
Quit playing small, right?
Yeah, we're here for such a time as this.
Exactly. That was one of my show was called the Charla Awaken Show, for such a time as this, at one point a few years
That's
ago.
amazing.
So yeah. Well, thank you so much, Kathryn. I appreciate you joining me, and we will absolutely be in touch. And for the rest of you guys, next week, I'm Charla solo. I do my show once a month now, just me. So next week it'll be just Charla's chat.
Amazing.
And love that you join us and listen in whenever you can, and find us on the podcast. It comes out on charlaanderson.com. This will be out in a couple weeks on that channel and all podcasts as well. I just want to encourage you to remember to always, always, always choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show. Encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.